Hi, Mark Camoccio, Gun Mart TV. I know we've obviously shown a Weihrauch 77 before, but this is a second-hand model that's come through, kindly lent to us by Range and Country in Sleaford. But it's such a landmark gun that I thought it was time to, or good excuse to show them again, because yeah, it's just been an incredible rifle. So it's the Weihrauch 77. It's still available in the product list, but obviously it's gone through a transformation. But you know, that Weihrauch used to put in their brochure sort of the gun where it all started. But the 77, the introduction of that was such a landmark rifle in sort of air gunning, and obviously I was involved heavily with the sport of field target shooting, and we were using Firework Bow Sports, you know, heavily rebuilt by Dave Wellerman Air Masters at the time, and winning shoots. And then suddenly this came out, and I remember having problems with my brake barrel and thinking, what the hell's the problem? And it turned out, I thought it was scopes, turned out it was the breech on the firework barrel that had worn out and needed, you know, sort of work done on it. But of course the brake barrel's got that moving barrel. Now when Weihrauch introduced this, it really was, they talk about game changers, it's a saying that's overused, but this really was a game changer. And of course it brought to us fixed barrel accuracy into the well, initially the competition circuit, but of course all those advantages transfer straight away into a hunting scenario. So if you want a full powered sporting air rifle, the 77, you know, really did change the landscape. So as I say, the key thing is that, I'll show you here, so you cock the action and then you're directly loading into the breech. I'll just fire that off, but basically the fact that you can directly chamber into the breech means you can feel how tight or loose is the pellet. So of course if it's too loose, you fire it in the ground, you know, you can sort of call a bad shot as such, and if you're shooting competition, that's invaluable, and it's a real heavy feature. So what you do is you do that, always keep with these great basic safety, is keep hold of that lever. You'll often see people at shoots and they're holding the gun like that, you're then putting your finger into an open breech, you haven't got that lever. There is a safety ratchet system in it, but why rely on a tiny bit of metal? Always keep hold of that lever. It's a key safety thing. So you put your pellet in, bring the lever back up, snap off the auto safety, that's a sort of standard Weihrauch feature. And I'll just fire this one off. Yeah, very slick action actually. I'm not quite sure of the age of this particular gun, but that's very crisp. Now part of the crispness is obviously the fact you've got fantastic Weihrauch record trigger unit, two-stage unit. When you see the actual whole sort of cassette that makes up the trigger, there's about 18 different components, I believe. So instead of a very basic 3-sear arrangement you get in cheap of spring-powered air guns, you've got, you know, this was one of the earliest sort of benchmark triggers that everyone else was looking at, other manufacturers. And so you've got a cassette there which has got all those different components, and that basically sets up a lever system that, if you remember your physics, the levers all help to contribute to take off that final pull weight. So it's something you take for granted these days, the record trigger, but it's a fabulous trigger unit. So you've got that as another feature. And obviously here they come with open sights as standards. You've got a foresight there you can take off. You can see the rear sight is actually neatly sitting under the scope there, and they supply that as a standard thing. And you've got a nice beach stock. This one's got it's quite a nice sort of quirk in the defined part of the cheek there. I say it's gone through an evolutionary process, the 77, so there'll be different, you know, they've sort of rationalised production. They went to a slimline fore end, as you can see that's been slimmed off. There's all little changes and tweaks that were made along the way as they slightly refine and alter the specification, but that whole basis still, you know, lies at the heart of it all, and that fixed barrel accuracy and mechanism is what makes this such a superb gun. And of course it's been the basis of tuning companies, you know, my old mates at Air Masters, but the other big rival at the time was Venom Arms, and they'd be taking this action, take away the stock, put it into custom stocks, put new special pistons in, shorten the stroke, open up the transfer port, all the special sort of secrets of the airgun tuning trade at the time. And of course people are trying to copy that these days, but yeah, it's a great rifle. This, as I say, it's still available. It's still produced by Weihrauch. These were introduced around about 1985, and the other manufacturers have sort of all jumped on the bandwagon. Air Arms famously came out with the superb TX200. That was in response to this rifle, and yeah, it's a landmark gun. You can still get, as I say, a production one. They're about 460 quid, I think, new, but you'll pick up some nice second-hand ones along the way, and they're worth looking out for. Obviously, Weihrauch brought out the 97, which was then incorporating a factory muzzle brake and various features that were sort of put in as extras into the tuned versions from custom companies, and the 97 has a more elaborate stock, etc. As I say, the 77, if you just want a top class, no nonsense, literally no nonsense, spring powered action, then they take some beating. So yeah, the Weihrauch 77, one of the key significant rifles of the last few decades for sure.